Antman and the Wasp. I have not seen this yet, so I am super excited. Let me just fix my screen.
I have, so disclosure there, but
yeah, I'm not perfect, but so we are simultaneously streaming this on as many platforms as I possibly could do. So we're on my Twitch, my YouTube, Nerd Initiative's Twitch, Nerd Initiative's YouTube, Nerd Initiative's Facebook, I think, as well as it going out on Twitter. So we're going everywhere, as well as we're doing this all on StreamLounge.io's platform. And so...
if Marvelite's complete house doesn't shut down, hopefully this will go according to plan.
Oh, don't curse me like this. Okay.
Sorry. I was just kidding.
No, it's... Oh, okay, hold on. Let me just... I hit a button and I adjusted everything. So this is the wonders. Like, if there isn't like a technical difficulty, it's not my production. So clean that up there. Boom, and then we'll move. See, it's like the wonders of being able to edit things in real time because I'm OCD. So
also your Ant-Man helmet in the background.
Oh yeah, I had to grab that off the rack.
So good.
Yes. Okay, so are we ready for this? Or I guess it's if I'm ready for this because you've already seen it.
I've had way too much caffeine and I'm beyond excited.
I'm sitting here with a bang, like ready to, because I woke up to people posting that it was going to drop, and then I like accidentally weeded through a whole bunch of like useless. I'm still editing stuff. Useless videos of people like making their own little things, and I'm like whatever. So. I'm still sitting here editing everything. Okay, I'm gonna stop now.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready?
I'm beyond ready.
Okay, let's do this.
I used to ask myself a lot of questions. Scott, good ex-con.
Hey, mute yourself, Michael. I can't hear.
That doesn't make sense. But everywhere I go, people tell me the same thing.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
People still need help, Dad. That's why we made this. Like a satellite for deep space, but
oh,
quantum.
that's definitely not
Wait
good.
a minute. You're sending a signal down to the quantum realm. Turn it off. Now!
This is information we could have used a long time ago.
Biggest mistake in Marvel history. I never thought it would come back to haunt me. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Where are we?
This gave me major ego vibe for some reason.
Oh yeah.
It's a secret universe beneath ours. What are you so afraid of? There's something I never told you.
Or someone.
This place,
That voice.
it isn't what you think. I can get you home. And give you more time. If you help me. So, what's it gonna be? Ant-Man.
Okay.
What do you think?
First of all, that is not what I thought was the trailer from the Hall H. So
I think they had to change it up because it's been shown twice.
I was wondering if we were going to see MODOK at all, and I'm going to go back and probably watch this a million times. But first of all, there are a couple things that I feel like about this. One, as much as like Ant-Man and the Wasp is a comedy, I want them to play this a little bit more straight than they have with the previous two films. I would love a little bit more seriousness because I think you have that joke like I love the fact that like Scott goes into the coffee shop and the guy's like, "Thank you, Ant-Man," like that, or no, "Thank you, Spider-Man." That was like hilarious. But at the same time, it's like, I'm okay with the Cassie Lang casting change from Endgame to this. She looks a little bit more like young Cassie than the Endgame actress did. So that's cool, and I'm definitely interested. I mean, like she's like the final piece to the Young Avengers, isn't she? Yeah. She's like once we have Stature, then we're pretty much there. As long as you're willing to take and Scar, replaces Hulkling. But regardless, like I feel like they could easily imbalance this if they do too much humor with like the whole Scott Lang, Paul Rudd, dynamic and Jonathan Majors.
I think the humor will be at the beginning, and then I think it'll quickly dissipate. Especially, I think there will be a lot of questions when they get to the quantum realm. I think there'll be questions and mystery. But the second Kang gets introduced, like I think, gloves are off, and I don't think it's going to be a joke at all. And I think I posted it and someone commented immediately was like, and I don't know if it's for this movie or in the future, so many heroes are going to die from this. So I mean, I think we don't know obviously, but I completely expect Douglas and Pfeiffer to possibly die in this. Again, we know nothing, so it's not like a spoiler. I just think he's a complete menace.
Well, yeah, because I mean, let's think about it. They've taken everything away from Pym that they could when it came to like his story. I mean, he's older. We only get him in like flashbacks of like things that he did with his wife, when they were Ant-Man and the Wasp. He didn't build Ultron. Thankfully they didn't go the whole abusive like megalomaniac.
That would have been terrible.
They didn't go that route with him, and they've actually made him, I think, a much more likable character. But I really feel like this could be like the passing of the old guard. I will say, you said the ego vibes. It very much reminds me of like Guardians of the Galaxy period. Like the color scheme, it's a whole different world. It's exactly what they were doing in Phase 2 when everybody thought, oh, they were betting on this ragtag team of heroes and off in this world. Guardians of the Galaxy introduced the galactic side of the MCU. Yeah. Just like Doctor Strange introduced the magic side. Like these films broke ground for the MCU to expand the world, because before then it was just super soldier serums and what was it, like high-tech prosthesis, and so it makes sense, and it's interesting because I think they're going to kind of take that vibe. Now if they do Quantumania in a level of humor like they do with Guardians of the Galaxy, it could also work that way too, because you can have seriousness with humor, and it's just kind of like you just understand those guys are just kind of jerks in themselves, and they make fun of each other, and they're not serious. And if you can get everyone to understand that with the team, hey Thor Storian, but yeah, I mean, that's where I think like they have to have that good balance of humor and seriousness, because you don't want to make Kang part of a joke when you first introduce him, into the bigger world of the MCU.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Are we able to rewind and sit on stills while we talk about it?
Yeah.
I mean, we got to look. I want to see a close-up of, because I watched it early fast. When he's floating in, also that photo of Scott just beaten.
Okay, look at this Empire shot, though. Like this gives me like Ramatut, like the whole like the pyramid. Like you could tell maybe that it would be interesting to find out that like all of the other previous Kangs were killed, but they had to actually capture this Kang, and he's the one, like he was the big bad that they contained in a bottle. Because I think what you're gonna find out is He Who Remains actually trapped this Kang because he couldn't kill him.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, so yeah, to your point, like you kind of mentioned it in talking about this. For those that don't know, Kang, Ramatut, the word escaped me. There's so many versions of Kang, and so for people that don't know, that are just casual fans and not, and there's no knock on that, not having read the books. I haven't fully dove into it. There's just a lot of versions of Kang, so we don't know who this version of Kang is. We don't know if we'll see another version of. We're going to see tons of variants of Kang, and they're all menaces. And so you're gonna get a lot of misdirects. You're gonna get a lot of surprises, a lot of different worlds, and it's just gonna be bonkers.
No, I mean, even consider in the comic books when Kang was defeated or killed, he was basically he reactivated a clone with his memories, and so
always came back.
He always came back. So, and they've already established this in the MCU. The only reason why we haven't seen Kang up to this point is because Hugh Remains has been editing the timeline to prevent his own existence.
Yeah.
So
it's just going to be, I mean, this is not a Thanos level event where it's like there's one villain and he's got a team and it's crazy. This is so much more complicated and complex where the guy has so much knowledge and power and there's so many of him and it's just, it's crazy. What is that? Oh, it's the... I mean, there's also those when we first get there. It was
I don't even know if I want to talk about.
What do we know about his character? That's something I don't know too much about.
I have no idea. Like I honestly don't know.
Yeah,
but the visuals in this is just amazing.
We meet when they first get to the quantum realm that we saw. I'm sure that will be.
Yeah, he's the mayor of Crazy Town.
He kind of is like a Jeff Goldblum, like almost like a.
What I would love to see, and this is just like my own like desire. It doesn't have to be in the film. Since we're gonna be in the quantum realm, we've got Kang. How cool would it be to have Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston, just somehow appear, and like literally just like there be that little either a cameo or. Maybe they do get involved since they are involved in the TVA. I mean, we're going to know more in season 2 about what's kind of going on with the TVA.
There's got to be some kind of connection. There has to be. I mean, this is where this all started. And I think we haven't seen anything from Loki or Owen Wilson or anyone.
I'm literally trying to land on a Kang image.
This
unraveling thing.
Yeah, that was really cool too.
There we go. Look at this. Oh my goodness.
When he's floating in, you even get a better shot. I mean, that is glorious. Because we remember He Who Remains we saw in Loki was not Kang. I mean, he was Kang, but not Kang. Not in full outfit, not in full power. He obviously is someone who was the least craziest of the Kangs, I guess. And this is Kang that we know. Man.
I don't know. I'm super excited. I really thought I was coming into this trailer a little like preparing to be disappointed, thinking, okay, I already kind of know everything that's kind of going into this movie that we've talked with the trailers from I think Hall H. I don't know if they showed the trailer in D23. Did they?
Yes, they did. So they showed the same one that we saw. So again, I keep saying this for those who don't know. San Diego Comic-Con had a teaser that was not released online, and then at D23, those of us that were watching the Marvel panel in Hall H, right, saw this basically the same teaser that you know of, and we can say it out loud, where he's like, Scott's talking about being an Avenger, and Kang's like, have I killed you before? Blah blah blah. This week we didn't get this. That's what we thought. I mean, I much like you, I thought we were getting that same thing.
But at the same time, I think what they did was they probably gave us less. In terms of dialogue, with the exception of can we talk about Cassie Lang, having the ability to build a quantum beacon? I want to know more about is she being homeschooled or something by the Pims? Come on. But at the same time, it's
questions there.
It's I mean, whatever it's going to be, I'm going to accept it. But it's I kind of want to know how that works because I want to it's very interesting. And then they get sucked in, and then there's the question and I don't know if you thought about this. Cassie and Janet and Hank were not wearing suits when they got sucked in, and we know that in the past, like with the whole cross and stuff, you had to have a suit. There was parameters and stuff about keeping you safe when you like go big and small, because you have to be in some type of like sealed containment unit. Even like when Janet gets Scott and they're driving like small in Ant-Man and the Wasp, the car will not open because they're shrunk down, because you have to be in a contained unit when you shrink and grow. But that was interesting. But I think the main character in this trailer that was beautiful was really the environment, the background. They're really diving into this strange world, like the cantina style bar.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like that looks like it came right out of Star Wars, But yeah, I'm super excited.
I'm really excited. I just think we've been waiting to see Kang again for a while too. So I think we're gonna get to really see him in all his glory. And then it all begins from there. I mean, the dismantling of the MCU as we know it, like it's going to be expanding and contracting, right? It's almost like it is almost like the Big Bang. Like we are just literally going to see a complete and utter change to what we've seen, and we're going to lose a lot of people. And Kang's going to be, and who knows what, whatever. But this is literally going to be a crazy level threat.
And consider this: the only way that we know that if they defeat Kang and Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars is if they actually follow He Who Remains' plan.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be a complete and utter mind. The word I can't use, but it's going to be a complete mind craziness, because like it's so hard to wrap your head around all that's going on and what can possibly. It's nuts. I'm still dealing with like people on streaming and TikTok and make a living off of going into the theories from Loki season 1 and other things like that. It is that confusing, and it's not gonna stop, especially as we, like you said, mentioned, getting the Secret Wars. It's gonna be just completely expanded, and it's just gonna be this whole timeline and this whole journey is gonna be a living being in itself. It's gonna be nuts.
Yep.
How about Janet? How about Janet being the anti-Bruce? In Bruce and Infinity War, like, oh, Thanos is coming. Janet doesn't say a word.
What is wrong
with you?
There's like this is the one thing I always wonder about. It's like, I get it. It's not perfect and everything in this world, but if I would love to say that if there were superheroes on this planet, that one of the things that they would think to do is everybody sit down and talk about their collective experiences, so that they could prepare for whatever possible threats could be out there. Yeah. Like, could you imagine, like everybody talks about Batman's prep time for certain things. They need a Batman in the MCU that's just like, okay, you tell me your story, tell me everything about it. Let's build contingency plans. Like I feel like that's where Tony would have like maybe jumped in.
Just thinking that, like, I feel like we're gonna feel the effects of the loss of Tony, and like a strategist and like a futurist and someone who thinks ahead, and who's gonna fill that role. Like, obviously it's not Doctor Strange, really. He's kind of reactive.
Would it be funny if it was Doctor Doom? That Doctor Doom was the one that made contingency plans for everything.
But yeah, wait. All right. So wait. So we have, before we cut off, what are we looking at? So next month we have Wakanda Forever, right? And
yes.
So I'm not going to play into rumors, but there are some rumors in there that could be exciting.
Oh yeah.
But where does this fit in the chronological timeline of what we're going to see?
So I would dare say this is probably a little bit, at least after Miss Marvel, for the fact that we know about, Scott Lang's wrote his memoirs. Like I think he even has like a podcast or something where he talks. So like he's already doing all those things. So it's probably around that time. So we're probably looking right around like right after She-Hulk, right after Miss Marvel, because they kind of like coincide around the same time. So
yeah, I'm looking at it right now with the updates. So we have obviously Wakanda Forever's next month. That's going to be.
And then we have the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special in December.
Allegedly Kraven maybe early next year, and then that's not going to intertwine, so we don't worry about that. And then Ant-Man the Wasp is the first half of 2023. I know it's probably been moved, right? It was February, but is it still February?
If it was moved, it would probably have been moved to May, I think, but I don't know.
Let's see. Let's find it out so we don't look foolish.
This February. Still February.
February,
February
yeah.
17th.
So this is right after Wakanda. So yeah, I mean, to your point, like if we do meet, like it's a big if. We don't know anything. If we do meet Doomsday and Wakanda Forever, let's speculate. He could be someone that's going to be coming, behind the scenes as like an anti-hero / villain / pulling the strings behind.
Okay.
So there's definitely there needs to be a strategist of some kind. And it's not going to be Bruce. It's not going to be Doctor Strange. Someone who is, again, willing to make the call.
Well, think of it this way. What if we were introduced to Doom at some point before, or maybe even after Quantumania, and Doom is not immediately presented as a villain. He's got to have a mystical side to him. They've got to do the magic aspect with him, and him also being like a technological genius. So what they should do is like the heroes decide that they have to deal with these threats. And who's better to kind of head up a think tank but Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom? And there's a falling out because Victor Von Doom wants to do it the wrong way. And so his whole purpose is saving the world his way, which makes him the antagonist to Reed Richards and causes the rivalry, which could eventually lead to like a Planet Doom or something like that, because Doom is technically right but does it all wrong, and then they have to go against Doom in like maybe Secret Wars or something.
And then that makes a lot of sense because it reminds us of a young Thanos, right? So Thanos lobbying for his way, not getting his way, seeing what happens, and then goes on his crusade that we saw come to fruition. And so maybe we get to see that play out, like you said, between like a Reed Richards and a Victor Von Doom, and that goes that way. That is not unprecedented in the MCU, and that would be interesting to see that.
And I would even love it to be like Victor Von Doom. Like the question is, do we want to see him with his already with his powers, or that he gets his powers? I actually would like to see him be like just Victor Von Doom. And everyone thinks that like eventually he will get his powers, but then like the hint, the tease at the end of whatever he's been in is like he's already had them. He's playing the the secret game where he's got the hidden corridors, and he's doing all the stuff in the background. Like you realize that Doom is much more prepared and established than we take him for. Like I would love to. We don't need an origin story for him. We just give us this lead into it, and then be like, well, what is this all about? Well, just give a quick tease where he's already got all of the stuff that he needs, and he at the end of something he goes and he sits on his throne, and he tells a Doombot or something. He's like, initiate Plan Omega or something. Like he just like pushes, like just shoots out a plan and decides it's time to start.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. Like just make him, we think, oh, he's going to be an antagonist, and be like, oh no, he already is. He's like the Darth Sidious, that kind of thing.
That would be cool, and especially because, again, we talk about unprecedented things that are precedented. Like we don't want to see, much like Spider-Man, we don't want to see the same thing we've seen, a few times in the past few years. We saw the classic, origin story, which is different from the comics, but the classic origin story of Doom and the Fantastic Four already. They changed it a little bit in the movies from 15 years ago, and then we saw the whatever origin story.
I will say this though, the one thing that the Jessica Alba Fantastic Four did right was that costume. I love the Doom costume, and I can only imagine how much better it's going to be when we get it in the MCU. Yeah. Like it's going to be perfect. And like, Fan Four-stick, they were trying to figure out what they were going to do with it, but like he wasn't even going to be Victor Von Doom. I think there was like backlash about it because he was going to be called something else, and so that's why they dropped that little Latveria comment in Fan Four-stick, because it was like he was going to be Victor. He was going to be Victor something else, and then like they're like, no, you can't do this. You can't have Doom without at least Latveria. So that's when they brought in the whole exchange student from Latveria thing. Like it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But oh my goodness, so much to unpack and rewatching this trailer.
Yeah. We're gonna have to rewatch it about 100 times. there's so much good stuff in there, and people to look up to, and the characters to figure out. It really is just again an expanding of what we know, like always. But I feel like this feels very different in the sense that we haven't seen this.
Yep. And we're about to get a whole lot more wonky when it comes to science in the MCU. And I'm so here for it. Because this is almost futuristic, mystical type level, technology. So yeah, I'm super excited. Like Kang is one of those.
The floodgates are open as far as the craziness that's about to ensue.
It's so funny though, because when Kang would ever show up in like animated shows or whatever, I was kind of like, oh, okay, this storyline again. But for some reason, like the live action just seems so much more investing for me.
Yeah. Well, also Jonathan Majors. We have to that's the last thing we can touch upon too. I think it's weird. It's very weird and very meta to talk about the Creed 3 trailer. But the guy is, as my wife would say, the guy is yoked and just looks also just so menacing, and he's such a great actor, and a lot of people are really excited about this, and for good reason. Very on par. It's like I said, this is super meta. Like you think of great villains in the MCU. Obviously, Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger he's up there as easily top 5.
Yep.
But it's still weird. You see in the Creed 3 trailer, it's almost like they did it as an appetizer for what we're gonna get in the MCU, which is it's weird. It's not the case, but it feels that way. And so seeing him in that trailer for something that's completely separate just kind of gets us even more pumped for this. And he just does look his delivery, which is his acting ability clearly, but also his physical craft and just everything else. This is gonna be insane. And I just, man, I'm here for it. It's gonna be nuts.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny though, is because if you didn't know anything about Jonathan Majors and you just saw him in Loki for the first time, he was the highlight of the show for me. The range that he did, he played this methodical crazy guy. He played it very loose, but at the same time, what he said and what he did carried weight. And I mean, we joke about where he drops the the thing on his desk and he's realizing he doesn't know what's going to happen next. And I think I even did a duet with that where I joked about somebody falling off of a pogo stick or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
But just that change in his demeanor, and then even when Sylvie, spoiler alerts if you haven't watched Loki because you've been living under a rock and you don't know what the internet is.
No spoiler alerts.
but
no, you don't get a year and a half of spoiler alert.
But I'm being funny. Just let me.
I know.
So when she stabbed him and he said "see you soon," there is so much to unpack with that.
Yeah.
That it just. The first time it didn't settle with me. The second time I was like, "Oh my word! What is he hinting at?" Because that was probably the most suggestive thing he could have said that would lead to everything else. Because if we did know we were getting Kang at that point when you saw the statue.
Well, we talked about Tony and Doom and Victor Von Doom and that kind of a character who, there's different versions of him that can go different ways. We didn't really get to see him, but with Iron Man, there's Superior Iron Man. Is it Superior or Ultimate? I always get them all mixed up. Superior Iron Man, who are kind of again, it's a tilt of whatever. I think that He Who Remains is very similar. He said, he made that comment. He's like, "You think I'm bad? Wait till you meet my variants." And so when he said "see you soon," that He Who Remains is right along the lines of Thanos, Tony on a bad day, Doom on a bad day, doing what has needed to be done. I mean, it reminds me again of Doom in Secret Wars, right? Where God Doom essentially burdened with, I wouldn't say glorious purpose, but burdened with immense purpose of saving the multiverse or saving whatever. And so I think He Who Remains, again, those are always the most intriguing characters, the ones that are just whatever. And obviously Sylvie, kills him, but we're going to find out probably that wasn't the best choice because whatever he was doing was keeping this guy, which is one of this guys, in check.
Okay,
And
here's the thing. Everyone blames Loki and Sylvie for breaking the multiverse. It was actually Morpheus's issue. Mobius. I don't know why I almost called him Morpheus.
there's so many. There's Morbius. There's Morpheus.
So Mobius, I believe, is the one because he was supposed to basically deal with Loki, but kept him on and let him be a part of it, and then of course everything went wrong. But if you really think about it, okay, so what if? And I've said this before. What if the reason why he said "see you soon" is not because he's going to reincarnate and he's going to remember everything that happened, but all of this has played out before. And he knows that the only way that it ever succeeded to prevent everything from collapsing was for him to get involved. And let's say it's either Loki or it's Sylvie or whoever that was in that engagement knows we need to find this version of Kang.
Yeah.
And so they go, and there's a hint of, you've done this before, and he says, oh, so it did work. Like that kind of thing.
This is where it becomes a mind fluff. That's what I'm gonna say from now
Yep.
on. I like fitting. It's 100% a mind fluff. Like if you think about this, it's so hard to wrap your brain around this stuff. Like it reminds me of when everyone was analyzing and picking apart time travel in Endgame, and they were saying how does it work as compared to like Back to the Future or whatever. This is not even like analyzing it. Again, we always talk about like talking about the conversation or being in the conversation. Endgame, Back to the Future, that was talking about the conversation. This is we're going to be in the thick of it, and it's going to be just like absolutely deranging to think about all these different scenarios and things. And to what you're saying, it is. I'm sure it's easier for some people to figure this out. It's just hard to compute. Like you said, where it's like that is actually the future, or it's linear. It's all happening at the same time. So yeah, they have to go get that Kang involved. Remember, don't forget. Ravonna Renslayer is still out there.
Yep.
Which in the books, if you'll do or do not know, is Kang's love interest. Kang has been, would you say he's an anti-hero sometimes? Like he has teamed up with the Avengers. If you go back to the original, like
Iron Lad and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, Iron Lad's totally different. That's a totally different thing. But Kang has gone and teamed up in the old Avengers books. Like Kang has teamed up with the Avengers. Dialogue is obviously super kitschy because it's from the 60s and mid and late 60s, but to save Ravonna, who initially thwarted off Kang's advances, and then she fell in love with him. It's this whole thing. So she's still out there, and so maybe she's the key to getting the Avengers in contact with, to your point, the Kang who becomes He Who Remains, because they need him to get this done and take care of this. And maybe that multiversal war, as you mentioned, that we saw that He Who Remains describes to Loki and Sylvie, is what we're about to see coming. And again, if that's not like an absolute mind fluff, like what is? Come on. Like
it's a good time. It's a good time to be a Marvel fan. I know everybody complains like, oh, things are different. It's not the same as it was in the previous phases. People do not understand how crazy this is all about to get.
Mm-hmm.
And it's either going to work really well or it's not, and we're going to get a reboot. But either way, it's going to be a wild ride, and I think we just need to just be patient and wait and see what happens.
Well, that's why, and then before we go, that's why there's been a lot of rumors about the possibility of like RDJ or Chris Evans coming back, and not coming back, right? They're not coming back. They want to do other things. They're done. Mm-hmm. But like you might see them pop up in the sense that like, again, what we're going into is what I said earlier. Time is linear to someone like Kang. Like or not linear. Time is what, like cyclical. Like everything's happening at once to someone like him. Like he's just like omnipresent, always aware of everything. And so like we could see people coming back in, whether it's variants or the timeline or like it's an absolute craziness where it's just this guy is it's a different level. Yeah. So it's going to be nuts.
Oh, absolutely.
My brain hurts right now.
Well, with that said, it's been fun. We're all over the place right now with this. And so it's probably a good time to end it. For a really short trailer, we have been going for about 34 minutes.
It's been a blast. I love this kind of stuff.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah, and we still have to do the show on Friday. So
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting. So, everyone, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching this after the fact. I am super excited for Quantumania now. I was already, but like it's even more so. I feel like they could really play this serious, like not super serious, but like serious enough. And I think that's what they're gonna do. You can't joke around with Kang too much because I think he's gonna slap them down when they do. I could see, Scott being a jokey kind of guy, and then when he sees like the sheer, violence of Kang.
Well, it's like those moments in the movies that always happens, right? Where people it's coming, and it still is like the suspense where they're joking around, and you're waiting, and it's coming, and then all of a sudden like Kang's like, and then Mike and Pym is gonna be just like gone, and then you're like, wait, what?
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, he's not coming back. That's how effortlessly he's gone.
Imagine if he's got like Pym, he's got Van Dyne, he's got Hope, and he's got Cassie like lined up, and he just kills them one after another. And then when he gets to Janet, that's when like you see Scott like break.
I'll help you, whatever you need.
Yeah.
And that could be that we've seen that before. That's a very classic way to move forward. So yeah, I mean we're gonna see a lot of that where it's classic, Scott Lang or Marvel humor, and the MCU is great at doing this. And then suddenly it turns really serious, really fast, and yeah, I don't think this is going to be a complete comedy at all.
Yeah. Oh my word, I'm super excited. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful afternoon. We're prepared for some Quantumania in our future. So
You did there.
Yeah. You see, I'm trying.